There he is. There's Mr. Troutski. What we're going to show you today is whenever you catch a change in tide like we have right now, it just went from falling to rising, what bridges are the best to target and what sections of them. Still using that shrimp Creole matrix. I'm going to put a few in the box and show you some tricks on fishing the tide change. These fish will really stack up down here on the south end of the bridges when we get into those April, May months into June. This is a little short. And the reason why you want to fish this on a change in tide is because if you look at a map of Lake Pontchartrain, you'll notice that the most defined point in the whole lake is right where the 11 bridge and the twin span meet land. You got all of that water coming around the corner from Seabrook and West End and Kenner, and it rips around that point where these two bridges meet land. And I really like to hone in on this, the last couple hundred yards of it whenever I'm out here and I notice the tide's very soft or changing, so on and so forth. Now, I typically favor the twin span on an incoming and 11 on a fallen. Right now, when we got out here, it was just barely trickling in. So we're going to start off trying the twin span. We may try 11 in a little bit. It can be fine on the incoming also, but definitely better on a fallen over there. But this is one area where you can pull up to one set of pollens and catch fish one after the other rather than having to cover a lot of ground. On the reel end, that's a good fish. Look at this one. Oh, wow. Good head shaker there. That fish hit me on the reel end. Solid chunk. Solid chunk. Spitting up all kinds of glass minnows. Most of them run kind of small over here, but that is a good one right there. A good one. There it is. Missed him. Missed him. Just want to try to pattern these fish. Get a good pattern on them. Sometimes they're going to be on the left side of the pole, sometimes the right, sometimes way off. Make a lot of different casts at different angles. Figure out where they're hanging, and then you can kind of hone in on it. Both of them bites came from the exact same spot. Just sweeping it right past the last pollen, letting the pollens break the current, the little bit of current that we do have. There he is. Pretty good fish. Pretty good fish. I'm impressed with the size of the last two. As you can see, I'm throwing it right in there, weaving it real tight to the pollens on these ones that are making X's. The big trout are hanging in there. As you can see, I haven't moved the boat off this pole in the last 3 or 4 fish. And that's the way it is down here on the south end. When these fish get hung up in that current, you can really pull a lot of fish off of one set of pollens. Again, using that shrimp Creole. And again, catching the silver wonders. Now, usually when we're talking about bridge fishing, we cover a lot of water. We move real fast, make 1 or 2 casts per pollen. But down here in the south end, it's a little bit different. They'll consolidate and they'll school up, especially as we get closer to the summer. There he is. I mean, we are just blistering these things. We hadn't even moved one pollen. I mean, it's been awesome making the same cast almost over and over. And most of my bites are coming once the lure's about 7 or 8 foot off the last pollen. And these fish will just use the bridge pollens to block the current ever so slightly, and makes it easier on them to sit in that current and ambush bait fish. I mean, I'm getting like 3 and 4 or 5 bites on some of these casts. This is a little rascal. That's why I'm missing so many. White trout. The specs are pretty decent though. It's throwing pretty much in the same spot every time. It's about 13 foot right here. Letting it get to the bottom. And just a slow little dribble in. Just backed up a little piece. Fishing the other span now. Same set of pollens, just the other span. Old Shrimp Creole been dynamite for us lately, as you saw in that. I think it was one of the last episodes, fishing the Wrigley's 90 bridge. And it's putting them puppies in the boat. All right, we're gonna go ahead and try the Holy Jolie here. Very similar color to the Shrimp Creole, so not much is gonna change on the bite. Shrimp Creole was kicking butt. We're gonna do the Holy Jolie now. Just come in that lure about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Push it over the shank of the jig head. Voila. Keep it straight. Again, I like to focus on the bridge pollens that have the cross pollens where they're kind of intertwined left and right. Those seem to hold more fish. Like this one right here. Little rascal. He's close. Some of these fish have been running upwards of 2.5 pounds. Some of them 11, 12 inches. Let that little guy go. This pollen's loaded. I'm getting a bite as soon as it hits the bottom. They throw it back in there. It's a little bit deeper down here on the south end of the bridges due to the current sweeping through here harder. So basically, if I come out here and it's the peak of an incoming tide or falling tide, I don't like this section. But if it's the beginning or the end, I like coming all the way down to the south end. But the current's always going to be moving harder down here, which naturally is going to make it a little bit deeper. Oh, them little rascals are eating my lunch down there. See if we can pull a nice one out. It's going to take a little bit longer to get to the bottom down here, just due to the current does sweep, and it's a foot, 2 foot, maybe 3 foot deeper. And that's why these fish really like to hone in on this area, especially when water temperatures get up around 75 to 80. They love this section, and they love it, really like it here whenever the tide's changing. There he is. All right, look how far off the bridge that fish was hooked. These little guys are eating up, eating up. 2 bites on that cast. Check, look at that. I figured they had my lure. They hammered it. I'm going to slide it right down these poles. Let it get to the bottom. I almost guarantee a bite. I told you I guaranteed it a bite. I think I got this fish foul hooked. He's fighting very weird. Got him hooked in the tail. You know, trout, I've read a lot that they'll go up to their prey and they'll hit it with their tail before they attack it, or they eat it, I should say, and they'll kill it. Not saying that's what that fish did, but certainly a possibility. A good fish right here. There we go. There we go. We're going to go ahead and end it on that one using the Holy Jolly Matrix. Catching beautiful trout like this down on the south end of the bridges. This is what you want to do when you have a light tide and a changing tide, as we discussed in this whole episode right here. I hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you enjoyed the last one when we were using Holy Jolly and Shrimp Creole on the 90 bridge. Again, that was another one. Fishing light tides, catching beautiful trout like this. Holy Jolly and Shrimp Creole will be in this month's monthly bait box. Make sure to subscribe to that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Enjoy all of our trout, redfish, bass, flounder episodes we have out there. And until next time, guys, good fishing.